Hi guys, this is Shahadat, and as you can see from the screenshot, I'm going to discuss about another argument that Jaggi Vasudev ji presents in front of his audience. And even though the face value, it sounds like a very convincing argument, if you think about it deeply, you will see that it is not really a convincing argument at all. So let me first play the context, in what context this argument is presented, and then I will talk about why I think this, the way Jaggi Vasudev ji is presenting the argument is a flawed way of doing that. So let's start.
We believe that he was one of the mightiest messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We believe that he was the Messiah translated Christ. We believe that he was born miraculously without any male intervention, which many modern day Christians today do not believe. We believe that he gave life to the dead with God's permission.
It's become so much a part of our daily language. I believe this, I believe that, then I believe other things, everything. Belief essentially means you have concretized your assumptions about life and beyond. Seeking means you have realized that you do not know. I do not know is a tremendous possibility. Only when you see I do not know, the possibility of knowing becomes a living reality for you. I know any number of teachers around you are going about feeding you philosophies and explanations for everything that is not in your experience. People have been talking about gods and heavens and this and that with great confidence and authority. Have they seen? Are they talking about something they have seen?
We believe that he healed those born blind and lepers with God's permission.
If you talk about something which is not yet in your experience, to put it bluntly, you're just a bloody liar. That's what it means. But because lies are holy, lies are written in scriptures, lies are repeated by all kinds of people who are dressed in different ways, which are supposed to be holy though ridiculous. Because of this, you're not supposed to question these words. Anywhere you go, first thing is people say, Sadhguru, what about the soul? Well, ask them which soul, right or left? Once you start.
I guess that's enough to present my argument. Let me pause to this particular screen because this is where I think Jaggi Vasudev ji looks the best in this clip. Okay, now, so basically two sets of arguments he presented, and whoever composed this video, it is basically to the idea of people believing in things. So you saw Dr. Dr. Zakir Naik there claiming that we believe in God, we believe in this and that. And Jaggi Vasudev ji's response was about that faith or belief thing. What he alluded to is, if you believe or if you make a belief claim, you are being dishonest. You are actually lying because you don't know. Now, if you think about it, if you know the English language, then you will know that the idea of holding a belief does not require you to know about it as a fact. Okay. So you don't have to have, you don't have to know it, knowing in the sense that you have some sort of evidence that you have seen. So you don't have to have that sort of knowledge to hold a belief on something. Okay, and that's the difference between believing and knowing. Knowing is when we have seen it, we have tested it, when it has been tried and tested and proved. That's when we say we know. And we use the word we believe is when, as soon as I say the word we believe, I'm basically saying I'm not sure. So immediately there is that possibility of a new explanation explaining whatever the scenario I'm trying to explain. To make the idea simple, to make it easily understandable, let me give you an example. And hopefully this example will make it clear in your mind the difference between these two concepts, knowing and believing. And at the same time, you will be able to see that it is not illogical or unethical to actually hold on to belief. Okay, and this actually doesn't mean that the belief is concretized at all, because belief is always open to interpretation, understanding. So it is not a closed case. Right. So the example goes like this. Suppose on a summer, very hot, dry day, you are trekking through a forest in Australia. Okay, in one part of Australia where, in the past there were forest fires. And you are trekking through that part of the forest, and suddenly you look ahead of you through the and like a mile or so away, suddenly you see smoke, a lot of smoke coming out. So now, looking at that, you are trying to make up your mind. What is it? As soon as you see smoke, the obvious first idea that comes to your mind is smoke comes from fire. Now, that doesn't have to be true all the time. If there is a volcano somewhere, you can get smoke without actually burning fire, as in forest fire. So you can have that. Smoke and vapor sometimes look the same kind of way. So if there is a, say, hot spring there, then it is possible that vapor is coming out and you are thinking it as smoke. So all these are different possibilities. But what are you going to do? Given your experience, the idea, the concept, that the knowledge that forest fire happened in this area in the past, that gives you one reason to think that it could be fire, because smoke comes from fire. The next thing you think is, in this area, according to the map, there is no other thing that could cause fire or smoke. So there isn't a hot spring or a volcano or anything like that to cause smoke. So then you are gradually getting towards the idea, and then you look around. It's a hot, dry day, so temperature is quite high, so that could play into the... So based on all these reasons, you think it is probably a forest fire. So at this point, you believe that this is forest fire. Based on the reasons that you have thought about, there is no doubt in your mind that this is a forest fire. Now, with that understanding in your heart, because you don't want to go and approach a forest fire, you turn around and start coming backwards. And after 5 minutes, you meet somebody and you tell them that don't go forward because a mile that way I saw smoke, and I believe it's a forest fire. They will not be, this guy who is saying this, and I believe it's a forest fire, he will not be wrong to make that claim or proclaim that. Okay, so he's not being lying. He's not doing anything unethical. Okay, but then the other guy, he says, no, that's not forest fire. He goes, how do you know? Then he says, no, it's me and my wife. We have camped there, and we are cooking. So we put a fire together. We are cooking there. I left my wife there, and I went to get something, and now I'm going back. So now, these guys, the belief that he had, he didn't think about this other possibility that somebody could go there and do a camp during his analysis. But because this guy is giving this new explanation, now his belief is changed. Now, at this point, he doesn't believe that that is a forest fire anymore. But at the same time, it is still not proved that that is not a forest fire. Because the guy is saying this guy could be a liar. This guy could be anybody, you don't know him. So there is still that possibility. But based on his argument, based on the reasons that he produced, it looks likely that that is not a forest fire. Okay, now then this new guy, he said, but let's because we have met, let's go and let's go to our campsite, and there, because we are cooking, we can have our lunch together. And thinking it as a good idea, and because this guy is approaching that fire, if the fire was anything dangerous, obviously this guy wouldn't have wanted to go near the fire, especially in a forest fire situation. So because he's going himself, the first guy thinks, that makes logical sense that I go with him. It logically is a valid thing to do. So they go, and surely once they reach the campsite, both of them find that there is this lady who's preparing, and the children, they're playing, and the food is being cooked, and they used woods to basically start the fire. So that is giving the smoke. So now, at this point, what is happening is, this guy, the first person we were talking about, let's call him David. Now David has now seen the source of the smoke. So once he has seen the source of the smoke, it is impossible for him to now hold a belief about the cause of the fire that is not, or cause of the smoke that is not this fire from the campsite. So because he has observed it, so observation is something that actually gives us certainty about the causes of things. So at this point, he is certain, so he knows that the smoke that he saw before, which he believed to be a forest fire, was actually not a forest fire. It was from this cooking in the campsite. And from this point onwards, he will never be able to believe that the smoke that he saw was smoke from a forest fire. So all the if you look at the claims, the belief claims, Dr. Zakir Naik is actually valid to hold this belief if for himself, to start with, for himself this is a valid stand to have, and then he can logically, honestly tell others why he believes or what his reasons are to hold that belief. Right. So there is nothing wrong with that. It's not cheating, it's not lying, or anything like that. And in our lives, we actually make lots of decisions exactly in the same way. We believe things based on reasons and we conduct our lives according to that. But if we see any evidence to prove that what we thought about the situation was actually wrong, then we change our view and we don't hold on to the old belief anymore. So hopefully you can see why I think Jaggi Vasudevji's argument on this particular point is, I mean, really weak, and it goes to show that he doesn't really understand the word belief, the meaning of the word belief. The correct way of actually correcting Dr. Zakir Naik or anybody else who claims to have a belief, the best way to do that would be to challenge the reasons why they think it is, why they, the reasons that they use, or they, yeah, the reasons that they use to actually hold on to their belief. If you can break or destroy these reasons, then they haven't got a reason to hold on to that faith or belief anymore. But until that happens, they are valid, perfectly valid and honest in saying, when they say that they believe this or they believe that. Belief doesn't have to be true, but belief can be true. And people who are holding that belief, they accept that to be true based on some reasons. So the way to dismantle this belief is to attack these reasons, which Jaggi Vasudev doesn't do in his lecture. He just simply says, they're being idiots, they're lying, they're ingenuous, they're not being genuine, and which doesn't really give any weight to the argument. So yeah, that's how I looked at it. If you think my way of looking at it is wrong, please go ahead and leave a comment explaining what you think that should have been the correct way of actually understanding this response, and then we can obviously learn from each other and correct ourselves, and you know. So with that, I'll see you later. Take care, guys. Bye bye.